Ladies and gentlemen, let's get real for a second. You don't wake up one day and magically have a seven-figure business. You don't post a few Instagram reels and suddenly expand into multiple markets. Expansion takes intention. It takes systems, it takes people, and it takes you leading from a place of absolute clarity. Now, here's the truth most people avoid. You can't expand a business that's already messy. If your current operation is held together with duct tape and hope, scaling it will only make that chaos louder. So the first step, before you even think about launching a new product, entering a new market, or opening another location, is getting crystal clear on where you're going. Clarity creates growth. Without it, you'll waste time, energy, and money growing in the wrong direction. Let's talk about systems. If your business depends entirely on you to function, then congratulations. You don't have a business, you have a job that owns you. Expansion demands freedom, and freedom is built on repeatable systems. Ask yourself, if I stepped away for a week, would things fall apart? If the answer is yes, you're not ready to scale. Systems allow your team to win without you being involved in every single decision. And speaking of team, here's a powerful truth. You don't expand businesses. You expand people who expand the business. I see so many entrepreneurs trying to do it all, thinking they're saving money. No. You're costing yourself opportunity. The right people in the right roles can 10x your business faster than any ad campaign, but you have to lead them. You have to communicate clearly, give them targets, coach them to success, and most importantly, hold them accountable. Expansion is about focus, not more noise, not more offers. It's about doing more of what works. If you've got one product that's converting, double down, triple down, optimize it, make it your flagship. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, you just have to scale what's already producing results. And when you do that, when you build on your strengths, revenue will follow. And finally, if you're not measuring, you're guessing. Data tells you what's working, what's not, and where to go next. You need metrics for marketing, for sales, for team performance, for client retention. You need dashboards, scorecards, real-time feedback. Because the companies that expand are not the loudest, they're the most intentional. Ladies and gentlemen, expansion is not a dream. It's not a fantasy. It's a formula, clarity, systems, team, focus, measurement. That's how you build a business that doesn't just survive, but scales with confidence. Don't just aim for growth. Aim for strategic, sustainable, measurable expansion. You've got this. Now go build it. If you don't know where you're going, no strategy will get you there. That's why clarity is the absolute foundation of business expansion. Too many entrepreneurs operate in survival mode, jumping from task to task, reacting to what's urgent rather than focusing on what's important. The result? They build something unstable, something reactive, something directionless. When you want to scale a business, you can't afford to build while guessing. You need to build with intention, and that starts with defining exactly what success looks like for you. Clarity means understanding what you want your business to become, not just in vague terms like bigger or more successful, but with precise, measurable, tangible targets. How much revenue? How many team members? What locations? What products or services? What markets do you want to serve? When you're clear, everything downstream becomes more focused. Your hiring gets sharper. Your messaging becomes tighter. Your team has a target they can actually hit. Without clarity, you're asking people to build a puzzle without knowing what the final picture looks like. And clarity isn't just about vision, it's about alignment. You, your leadership team, and your frontline employees all need to be speaking the same language. Everyone should be able to answer the question, where is this company going? And if they can't, you've already got a problem, because people don't follow uncertainty, they follow confidence, they follow direction. So your job as a leader is not just to have clarity, but to share it, communicate it, and repeat it until it becomes culture. Now let's get practical. Clarity isn't a one-time decision, it's a discipline. It's something you revisit constantly. Markets change, your goals evolve, what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow, so you need space to regularly check in with yourself and ask, is this still the direction I want to go? And if the answer is no, adjust. Pivot with purpose, but do it from a place of strategy, not stress. Clarity also protects you from distraction. One of the biggest killers of expansion is the shiny object syndrome. You see other people trying new platforms, launching new offers, building new funnels, and you start to doubt your own plan. But when you have clarity, you can say no to good ideas because they're not aligned with your great vision. That's power, that's leadership. At the core of clarity is decision making. Business owners who scale are decisive. They know what they want, they communicate it clearly, they execute relentlessly, and when things shift, they don't panic. They recalibrate with intention. Because the goal was never to do everything, the goal was to do the right things well. And clarity tells you what those right things are. Growth without structure is chaos. Every time a business scales without systems, it multiplies confusion instead of results. Entrepreneurs often think that expansion is about doing more, taking on more clients, adding new products, and increasing their output. But the reality is that when you grow a business that has no structure, you're not scaling success, you're scaling dysfunction. And eventually, the weight of that dysfunction breaks everything. That's why systems must come before scaling. Systems are not just routines, they are the foundation of stability. They allow you to grow with confidence, not fear. A system is simply a consistent, repeatable way of doing something that produces predictable results. It could be how you onboard a client, how you close a sale, how you handle customer service, or how your team runs meetings. Every function in your business should have a documented system that removes guesswork and personal interpretation. Without systems, your business depends entirely on people remembering what to do. With systems, your business becomes independent of personality and built around process. And that's where scalability begins. Let's take hiring, for example. If you don't have a system for interviewing, onboarding, and training, you'll waste time and energy trying to recreate the wheel every time you add someone to your team. But if you do have a clear, tested process, it doesn't matter whether you hire one person or 10. Everyone gets the same experience, the same expectations, and the same tools to succeed. That consistency breeds culture, and culture breeds performance. And when performance is high, growth becomes natural instead of chaotic. Too often, business owners skip building systems because it feels slow. They're in a hurry to grow. But the irony is that skipping this step actually slows you down in the long run. You end up making the same decisions over and over again, putting out fires that could have been prevented, and micromanaging tasks that should have been automated or delegated. Systems create freedom. They let you step back from the day-to-day and focus on high-leverage activities. They give your team clarity, reduce mistakes, and protect your brand. You don't need 100 systems to start. You just need to identify the critical areas that affect revenue, customer experience, and team productivity. Then start there. Write down how things should be done, test the process, improve it, and once it works, teach it to your team. That system becomes your tool for scaling without stress. And when the business grows, you won't be panicked. You'll be prepared. Systems are your insurance policy against chaos. They don't limit your creativity, they protect it. Because when the structure is solid, you can build as high as you want. You don't expand businesses. You expand people who expand the business. Growth is not a solo sport. No matter how smart, talented, or hardworking you are, your business will only grow as far as the people behind it. The mistake many entrepreneurs make is trying to do everything themselves. They believe no one can do it like they can, or they think they're saving money by not hiring. But in reality, they're holding themselves and the business back from real expansion. If you want to grow, you must invest in people. You must build a team with intention, place them in the right roles, and empower them to lead inside the business. Hiring randomly or based on convenience will not create the results you're looking for. You need to be clear on what roles are required for growth and what outcomes those roles are accountable for. People don't just need job titles, they need targets, they need metrics, they need clarity. When you bring someone on your team, you're not just giving them a job, you're giving them ownership over a part of your company's future. If they don't know what success looks like, how can they hit it? That's your job as a leader, to define the target and coach them until they get there. But having people is not enough. You need the right people. That means individuals who align with your values, who believe in the mission, and who are not just looking for a paycheck. They're looking to grow. You want people who take initiative, who own their outcomes, and who are not afraid of accountability. And to attract and retain those kinds of people, you have to build a culture that rewards performance, recognizes effort, and constantly challenges them to become better. The culture of your team will determine the capacity of your business to expand. One of the biggest shifts a founder has to make is going from being the doer to being the leader. That means your focus has to shift from task execution to talent development. Your job becomes hiring, coaching, developing, and holding people accountable. You're building leaders, not just filling positions. The more leaders you build within your company, the more bandwidth you have to grow. You can't be in every meeting, make every decision, or solve every problem. Not if you're serious about scaling. You need people who can think, act, and lead without your constant involvement. Ultimately, every major breakthrough in business happens through people. You can have the best product, the best marketing, and the best systems, but if you don't have a team that executes with discipline and passion, you won't scale. People multiply your vision, they carry it forward. They turn your ideas into reality. So if you want to expand your business, start by expanding your people. Build them, lead them, challenge them, and they will take your business further than you ever could alone. Scaling a business isn't about doing more of everything, it's about doing more of what actually works. Many entrepreneurs fall into the trap of thinking expansion means adding new products, chasing new audiences, or spreading across every platform possible. But real, sustainable growth comes from doubling down on the parts of your business that already generate revenue. It's not about chasing shiny objects. It's about focusing your time, energy, and resources on high return actions that are already proving successful. When you do more of what works, you stop guessing and start multiplying. The first step is identifying your core drivers of revenue. What product, service, or offer is consistently bringing in income? Which channel converts the highest? Quality leads, which process results in repeat purchases or client referrals. Too many business owners don't even know the answers to these questions because they've never taken the time to track and measure what's actually creating results. But once you know your winners, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to make that wheel roll faster, smoother, and stronger. It's tempting to want to expand into new areas because it feels exciting. Launching something new gives you a sense of momentum, but if the foundation isn't optimized, all you're doing is stacking more weight onto a shaky structure. Expansion doesn't come from doing more, it comes from doing better. Improve your best performing offer, streamline the delivery, shorten the sales cycle, increase customer retention, raise your prices, bundle value. There are countless ways to grow without having to start from scratch. This kind of growth requires discipline. It means saying no to distractions. It means ignoring what your competitors are doing if it's not aligned with your vision and strategy. Just because someone else is going viral on social media doesn't mean you need to pivot your entire brand. Stay focused on what moves the needle. Build depth, not just width. When your top performing areas become stronger and more profitable, you'll be in a far better position to expand into new directions when the time is right, because your foundation will be solid. Another piece of this is team alignment. Your team needs to know what the revenue drivers are too. Everyone in your business should understand what the priority is and where the greatest opportunities lie. That's how you create organizational momentum. Instead of scattered effort, you create concentrated force. And concentrated force is what breaks through growth barriers. Remember, growth is not about being everywhere. It's about being effective where it matters most. So look at your business with clear eyes. Identify what's working. Eliminate or reduce what's not. Optimize, refine, and then scale those high-performance areas with everything you've got. That's how you grow a business with confidence and predictability. You don't need more complexity. You need more clarity and commitment to what already brings results. You cannot improve what you don't measure. And if you're not measuring consistently, you're leading blindly. Business expansion demands data. It demands metrics that reflect where you are, where you're going, and whether or not your actions are actually making a difference. Too many business owners rely on gut feelings, assumptions, and vague observations to guide major decisions, but when you're scaling, that approach becomes risky. What you need instead is a disciplined system of measurement that gives you real-time insights into every critical part of your business. Tracking data isn't about perfection or overcomplication, it's about clarity. It gives you the ability to make decisions with confidence. When you can see what's working and what's not, you stop reacting emotionally and start leading strategically. You know exactly which marketing campaign is delivering results, which team member is outperforming, which offer is converting best, and which area is silently draining resources. That clarity allows you to focus your time and money in the right direction, rather than spreading yourself thin across efforts that don't move the needle. Measurement also creates accountability. When your team has specific targets and those targets are tracked, reviewed, and visible, it builds a performance culture. People begin to own their numbers. They're not just busy, they are effective. And that shift transforms your company from reactive to proactive. If someone is underperforming, you catch it early. If a campaign is thriving, you can scale it immediately. You're no longer waiting until the end of the quarter to find out what went wrong. You're adjusting weekly, even daily, based on live data. Now, what should you be measuring? Start with the basics: revenue, profit margins, customer acquisition cost, retention rate, and average order value. Then go deeper: lead conversion rates, sales close rates, client satisfaction scores, team productivity benchmarks. The metrics you track will vary depending on your business model, but the principle is always the same: what gets measured gets improved. Don't let the fear of complexity keep you from tracking the numbers that matter. Start simple, stay consistent, and build from there. Dashboards, scorecards, and KPI trackers aren't just for big companies. They are for any business serious about scaling. You don't need a fancy software to get started. Even a well-organized spreadsheet reviewed weekly can revolutionize the way you make decisions. The important part is not just collecting the data, but reviewing it, acting on it, and communicating it with your team. Measurement without follow-through is just noise, but measurement with action, that's where the power is. Ultimately, measurement is what keeps your expansion grounded. It keeps you honest, it shows you what's real. And in the face of growth, it keeps your business from drifting into chaos. Because while dreams, vision, and passion fuel your fire, data gives you the map, and when you're scaling, you need both the fire and the map to get where you're going.